You know, I was getting ready to go to the mall with some friends. I'm just getting vaccinated and everything and being safe and everything. And then Sodaz, a YouTube animator and an extremely good one at that, I would put him in the top 3 in no specific order as some of the best animators and clearly knows a thing or two about lore. But Sodaz released a new video and I feel like we should go over it because, like, his Deathcore Krieg one, really good. I do want to do a reaction to it, obviously. But this one has to be my favorite work that he has done. Like, hands down, I think it might be his best work. I assume he goes by he, him. I apologize if I misgender you. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. And I'm going to need some headphones. Okay. Just 1 second so I can get everything situated. So I feel like we should watch it first and then do a proper reaction to it. I do love all of the things that I'm seeing here. Like, he gets the emotions in the eyes and everything, like, really well. Like, yeah, some of his animations are 2D, but overall his work is fantastic. So something that's often overlooked in 40K is Orphans of War. And typically, if your parents are officers, you're brought to Scala Progeniums. But there's a lot of people who lose their loved ones in war. Also, I want to talk about that gun in just a second. Do you like the Vox equipment on the table? That gun, we need to talk about that. Says thank you. Then the Cadians go back out to war. The use of lighting here is absolutely phenomenal. And here, the lumen globes up on the streetlights and everything. Them going over their casualties for the days. Yeah, that's... Not gonna lie, it made me emotional. Like, it's my second time watching this and I'm still tearing up from it. And then it shows them as a guardsman. So, there's a lot to unwrap in this, and one, Sodaz's work, absolutely fantastic. Please check it out. He does phenomenal work. Check out his Deathcore Krieg stuff. I can't praise it enough. Like, so I want to go over some of the equipment that these guardsmen are using. One, that's a medipack. That means that this is a medic, which is really cool because that means that this is part of a command squad over in the left corner. I think that's pretty neato mosquito. And this is something that you don't see in 40K too often, is they're caring for the civilians. So in 40K, it's commonly accepted civilian casualties happens and Guard don't care about anything. It's just numbers upon numbers and just sending out wave after wave until the enemy is destroyed. But the reality of warfare is soldiers would care, do care, and are going to comfort civilians who have lost people in the battles, especially if they lost something to something that's inhuman, like Chaos, Tyranids, Genestealers, or the various enemies of 40K. But I think this is amazing. The guardsman standing here, like, this should probably just be my thumbnail. Like, this right here is incredible. I gotta come back to this. It's 8 seconds in. Absolutely amazing. So we do see the guards. We see the guards saluting here. So let's try to get that exact frame where they're saluting. So there it is. Now, what's funny is there's 2 methods of saluting in 40K. There is the classic hand over eyebrow thing that we do in the modern military. There's also the half side of the aquila or the full aquila across your chest, or it's just a hand across the chest as a form of greeting depending on which world you're on. I think it's Vrax, they use the hand on they pound their chest, and some Imperial Guard regiments just straight up pound their chest. But typical, like saluting, the one side of the aquila, the 2 sides of the aquila are very common. The cog of the Omnissiah, which I think is this, something like this. It's kind of like the salute from Attack on Titan. Again, use of lighting, use of shading and everything is exquisite here. Like, honestly, if Sodaz made a full, like, 40K movie, I'm pretty sure GW would, like, land on it in a second, praise him or them, and just pick all of this up and just be like, this is canon. His work with Cadians Imperial Fist, and Deathcore Krieg, exquisite. And I can't praise it enough. So again, a guardsman handing out a field report. It's cool to see the Lasgun slung on the back, because this is something that would happen modern. So, interesting map layout. They actually detail where the battles are taking place, where the casualties are coming from, where their supply routes are, and everything on this little tiny piece of paper. And I think this is incredible. They're detailing so much work here that, like, a scene like this stands out to me because it's showing supply routes, it's showing engagement fronts, it's showing warfare and showing casualties. Really good. And layout of land, obviously, displacement of troops. We have propaganda on the wall, always good to see that. And then the kit itself. And let's skip ahead a little bit. Guardsman offering his hand. Now we do get to see all of this, and it's really cool. Now there is a lot here in this scene that I want to talk about. So let's go back a little bit. All right. One more scene. There we go. So over on the left side, we have the Voxcaster, which is really cool to see. Table, chair setup. So we got a gun rack in the back with 3 lasguns on it. These look like the standard pattern of Cadian lasguns. But this gun right here, held by this female officer. I'm going to assume it's an officer. But regardless, this specialist right here, that is a drum cell, because lasguns are loaded by cells, not magazines or clips. Yes, I know a clip goes into a magazine, but there are, yeah. Anyway, that means that weapon right there has 3 times the rounds in it, so that long las has 300 shots. And a las cell actually has 100 shots in it. It's why it's so much more efficient than an auto weapon, and it's why guardsmen are deployed with las weapons, because las weapons are just superior to their more archaic predecessor of auto guns and rifles of today. Rifles of today and TMPs and Tech 9s all exist in 40K. Just look at the Genestealer cult. It's really funny. But a las weapon, what it does when it fires is it hits the target and then superheats everything inside it, causing vaporization if it hits bare skin, meaning that when it hits you, it explodes. So if you get hit in the shoulder, you're losing your whole arm. And guardsmen are so tough that they can tank that. They can tank getting shot and part of their skin blowing up and just wrap it and keep going into the battle. So whenever somebody says that a guardsman is weak or is a normal human, no, their training is intense. Okay, we got the flak vest, and it looks like they're in winter garbs. This one kind of looks like an officer, I'm not going to lie. It's the trench coat underneath it. I forget what it's actually called. But other things about this rifle, we see a tripod on it. We don't see any sacred inscriptions, but it does have the Aquila, the sign of the Acadians, which could be a sacred inscription to them. And it does have an omniscope. An omniscope is a bit bigger than a typical scope for a sniper rifle. It's typically about a foot-long scope. And what it does is it switches between night vision, thermal, various other types of thingamajigs that it can sense targets through. But the ones that I predominantly know is it'll give you information on wind speed, it'll give you information on the gravity fields, it'll give you information on thermal or infrared and night vision. So it makes the gun a lot more accurate. In Dark Heresy settings, that gives you a plus 20 to a shot. Okay, now I'm gonna, for the benefit of the doubt, I'm gonna assume that that's just bread, but knowing 40k, that's actually a corpse cracker, which is made out of corpse starch, which happens on hive worlds and a lot of agri worlds, and typically what guards are prepped with. They have a couple of meals with them that they keep on them at all times. They keep like 4 or 5 MREs on them at once, and it's in the form of a corpse cracker or something similar to this. This looks like an average piece of bread, but I feel like I should talk about the food that goes into the Guardsmen. So, corpse crackers. How these are made is they are mass produced on Forge Worlds or Agri Worlds, and what they do is instead of like dealing with the dead on a hive city, they instead just keep throwing them down layers until the corpse grinder gangs, which are usually heretical, but tolerated by planetary governments because no one else will do the job. Sometimes they're gene stealers, and hives actually know about them. But regardless, what corpse grinders actually do is they throw dead corpses into a giant blender, essentially, and a whole bunch of living or dead biomatter into this thing. And it could be like your dead house cat, a human, a grox, or some type of animal or fauna that's located on the planet. They grind it all up, purify it so that it can be eaten again. It has to barely pass a test, and then it's cut down, cut up, put into ration packs, and sent all over the galaxy. I wish I was joking about this. This is how grimdark 40k is. Your MREs are humans. Have fun knowing that. So, what she has in her hand is just a regular tool, but I'm going to assume for the benefit of the doubt it's a multi-tool. Multi-tools in 40k are little Swiss Army knives that can turn into literally anything to help you repair your weapons and war gear. But now looking at it closely, I think it's actually sacred ungulates, which is an oil that's put onto your guns, your weapons, your equipment, to just help maintain them and make sure the machine spirit is happy. You can see the Vox, what are they called? Oh my god, so I'm drawing a blank. It's an earpiece. It's a short-range Vox. I cannot remember what it's called. A comlink. You can see all the comlinks on their helmets. There we go. So flak armor like this is specially designed to absorb and displace heat. So a weapon like a Lasgun hitting the chest of this guardsman or that guardswoman, for instance, would more than likely just hit, disperse, hurt the guardsman, but not kill them. And it won't be as bad as like stormtrooper armor, where it does pretty much the exact same thing, but shocks the stormtrooper into unconsciousness. I wish I was joking about that, but that's actually canon. You can also see a rank on his chest, as well as, again, the expressions in their eyes. Also, it's kind of weird that they're Acadians, but, and I want to point this out, they're Acadians, but they don't have purple eyes. This one does, it looks like, and maybe she does, but from here it looks like she has brown eyes, which wouldn't be a surprise because after Cadia fell, they had to recruit new Cadians from different regiments to pool them together to make a Cadian regiment. And currently, I think they're pulling Cadians from the Cadian sector, which might not have purple eyes anymore. And you can read about that in Cadian Honors, Cadia Stands, and a few other books at this point. Aegis Mouths, thank you here. Okay, and weirdly enough, we don't see a single special weapon in that guards platoon, but it could just be common infantry. Okay, the background is insanely detailed. I love it. Very grim, dark atmosphere. Looks like Dawn of War 2. Looks like the city gate thing that you have to breach. Gathering the dead. Acadians do actually respect their dead and give them final rites and read them prayers and everything. It's kind of weird not to see a preacher with them, especially as they're gathering the dead, because typically preachers will follow them. They'll be escorted. Guardsmen regiments are typically escorted by commissariat detachments, ecclesiarchal detachments, depending sanctioned psychers like Primaris psychers, and no, not Primaris Marines, but Primaris psychers, or Wyvern psychers, or abhuman regiments are usually a thing as well. And Sodaz has shown pretty much all of this in his other work. I just thought I'd point it out because it's really cool here. Yeah, this still hits me. So, you know, respect. And then seeing him as a guardsman at the end is incredible. He's got his Lasgun. He's got his scope on it. His looks like a tripod on this one too. They're probably being deployed to somewhere where they need as much suppression fire as possible while still maintaining a low profile. So you have to be pretty high up to request that kind of equipment. But I mean, if your regiment has it, you have it. There's several other things in the Imperial Guard wardrobe that we could go over. Additional ammunition clips kept on the cargo pants, or ammunition cells kept on the cargo pants. I think they keep a total of 2 grenades on them at any one time. They keep 6 clips, so that's 600 rounds on them at any one time. They have their gun. Typically, they're issued with a las pistol as well, though this is rare. They typically have a close combat weapon in the form of a knife. If they're super cool, they have a really cool knife, like a Catachan knife. But that's very rare to see out of the Catachans regiments, but it is possible. They could also keep a sword on them, and typically they have an e-tool on them as well. 5 ration packs is pretty normal for Acadian to be deployed in. If I actually had my book, I can go over every piece of war gear that is in this Acadian's armament, and it would be a it would be a lot of fun to do so. But unfortunately I don't, so I'm going based off of memory. So please forgive me. Whoops, wrong thing. Right thing. So if you haven't gone to Sodaz's channel just yet, I'm looking over at my cam. I kept it on the other screen for a second. But if you haven't gone over to Sodaz's channel just yet, please do. I highly recommend his channel. It is one of the best animation channels that exist on the internet right now. And even if you don't know 40K and don't want like a complex explanation, just watch a couple of his videos and you'll pretty much get it. Oh, also, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war, and you will not be missed. That's actually the full quote to that, by the way. A lot of people get that wrong, and they think that you will not be missed is only part of their Warhammers for Everyone speech, but it's in every single rule book, dating all the way back to Rogue Trader. The galaxy is a large place. There is only war. You will not be missed. Heroes will be forgotten. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe to Sodaz's channel. Also, subscribe to my channel. It's like right over here. It's a really cool channel. I do a lot of videos. And if you're super awesome, check out my Patreon. Patreon goes a long way to helping out the channel. It has exclusive videos and new videos every week. So, be sure to check that out. As always, I'm NornQueenAlexis. I love you guys. Bye.